Inspired to Learn, Kansas Stories. Learning Forward Kansas is excited to share this video series with Kansas educators. These videos will celebrate Kansas educators as well as inform and inspire us by sharing professional learning led by Kansas educators. As educators improve, students improve. We will explore why professional learning is important, what effective professional learning is, and how effective professional learning is being accomplished across Kansas. These videos will address the work behind the scenes as all educators learn, collaborate, practice, and ultimately change our performance. Professional learning is the engine of change. All across Kansas, educators and students are inspired to learn. It doesn't matter what corner of our state, from Leavenworth to Liberal, from Goodland to Galena, or from Marysville to Medicine Lodge, we are all inspired to learn. It also doesn't matter the size of our district or school. Educators, all of us together, are inspired to help students become successful adults. Educators in schools are transforming how we teach so that our students learn. Yes, it is going to be hard, but we can and we will. Again, the three questions become: why is professional learning important? What does effective professional learning look like? And how will we plan and deliver professional learning that inspires action by each Kansas educator, each learning team, and within each building? Our motto is, at our school, it is everyone's job to learn. Are there examples of Kansas schools planning, delivering, and supporting effective professional learning? The answer is a resounding yes.
I want to tell you about many of the great things going on in Kansas, especially around the board's vision and the outcomes for education. You know, just a few months ago, the state board took a lot of information gleaned from Kansas educators, Kansas community people, Kansas business leaders, and put forth a new vision for education. We're going to lead the world in the success of every child. It's bold, it's inspiring, and it's going to take a lot of work, but I'm confident we can get it done. And the way we're going to get it done is by everyone throughout this state collectively thinking about the professional development that's going to need to scale this for every Kansas community and to make sure that every Kansas student is successful. So professional development, you know, things like book studies and yes, courses and mentors and all those things that are going to need to be necessary throughout our state. It's going to be very important that we start thinking about those professional development models that will carry us through this new vision. It's a new era. It's a little unknown, it's a little scary, because we're going to develop it ourselves. We're going to learn from each other. And what's really powerful about it as we go through this new era of education in Kansas is that every single one of you can help drive it. It's not about positional leadership, it's about leading from everywhere. And staff development from teachers, leaders, from principals, from superintendents, from parents, it'll all come together if all of us understand that our role is to be continuous learners, acknowledge when we don't know what we don't know, and then go after how do we gain access to better learning? How do we have those collisions with teachers and other superintendents and other principals across our state so that we create this culture of learning that permeates Kansas? You know, I know we'll do that just as we will hit the vision that every child is successful. It won't be easy, as I said, but I know that as we go forward and we think about the professional development learning activities and opportunities and the leadership that it will take to do that, that all of Kansas educators will rise to that occasion.
Our thanks to Dr. Watson for his emphasis on the role and the critical importance for quality professional learning that changes our practice. Yes, professional learning is an important vehicle in making the cultural changes, the structural changes, and of course, the instructional changes that lead to student success. Our first question, why is professional learning important in Kansas?
I feel that professional learning is important for educators in Kansas because we know that there's a relationship between professional learning and what we're doing with students in the classroom and their results on achievement.
It's really important that all of us are learners. We all can grow. It's about continuous improvement, about working together collaboratively to achieve our goals.
In Kansas, our why professional learning is that it leads to student success. What are your beliefs about professional learning? Let's examine these 5 beliefs. Number 1, professional learning is key to improving the performance of all educators. Number 2, effective professional learning is an important component for closing the achievement gaps in our schools. Number 3, effective professional learning inspires collective responsibility for success of all students. Number 4, the most powerful professional learning occurs among all educators in learning teams when members are curious and committed to continuous improvement. Number 5, the last one, professional learning is key to ensuring that all, not just some, but all students experience great teaching and great learning every day that leads to student success. If you had to pick just one of these beliefs, which one do you believe is most important as we transform our schools? That 4th belief stated, the most powerful professional learning occurs among educators, all educators, in learning teams where members of the team are curious and committed to continuous improvement.
Why is professional learning important to Kansas educators? Well, I think that's the most important thing that we can do. We have to be willing to be lifelong learners in order to instill that in our kids. It was amazing. I mean, like goosebump amazing. So again, it's having those open conversations, being able to share, collaborate. We know that all of our brains together are so much better than just administrators working alone. We've got to tap into the skills and the strengths of everyone and bring that together.
Once we have the vision set from the state, we lose data to get it figured out. We use our professional learning communities to gather that data and implement it. And then after that, it's up to leadership to monitor that and provide feedback to the professional learning community that it's working and say, okay, are we holding ourselves accountable? Are we making progress? Where do we need to reset? Where do we need to go back and make improvements? And then what professional learning do you need to make that improvement? And then we come back and it's just an ongoing process. If you want to know the truth, we come back to the data and start again and say, what do we need to improve? I would like to say that there is some sort of general guidelines for that, but it really depends upon the initiative that we're starting. I mean, that process, the general process is the same, but sometimes we skip around the steps to make that happen. Sometimes we collect the data first, sometimes we get the initiative, then collect the data. Sometimes the data determines the initiative.
As Dr. Watson, Cindy, and Joe shared, professional learning is critical to any change, and that change is a process. It takes time. Here is one model of a school improvement cycle. There are many models, but let's take a little time and look at this one. We talk about knowing to doing. The right side of this model is basically knowing, and the left side is the doing. As we continue to explore why professional learning, we've asked you to consider the importance of a school improvement process to the overarching goal of creating a culture of learning that leads to student success. We know that professional learning plays a significant role within each of these components and throughout the cycle, and is critical to achieving our goals. How do we get over the bridge, riding that wave of change? And why is this important? It is important because we want to get better. Riding that wave of change takes time to practice, time and to have support. It takes follow-up, and always time to reflect, both personally and within our teams. As we always say, at our school, it is everyone's job to learn. As Kansas educators work on their school or continuous improvement process for accreditation or other initiatives they're working on, they use a variety of tools that increase dialogue and conversations to improve practice, again, that leads to student success.
The expectation is that everyone here is going to learn, from the school board to licensed staff, administrators, and classified staff.
When we talk about professional learning, I think that one of the key pieces is building that, that culture for learning, and that we all want to learn together, and it's sharing ideas and stealing ideas and not competing against each other.
The 7 standards for professional learning encourage us to think about what conditions support effective professional learning, getting over the bridge from knowing to doing. They create a framework for success. Let's look at each of them. Learning communities, leadership, resources, data, learning designs, implementation, and outcomes. These 7 standards or conditions work in partnership with each other, not in isolation. It takes all of them for us to be successful. Why do leaders matter? All leaders, teacher leaders, mentors, instructional coaches, principals, district leaders, and state leaders. They matter because when effective professional learning exists, leaders are visible, they're articulating the goals, they're always clarifying the why. Why are we doing this? They're advocating for adequate resources, supporting implementation, and modeling their own learning and desire to improve by participating in continuous learning. They build capacity in their buildings, in their teams, in their districts by offering feedback, support, asking questions, and distributing the responsibility, creating a culture of collective efficacy, a can-do attitude.
I think that professional learning is critical to that. Do they feel like that we are supporting them? Do they feel like that we are helping them grow as a teacher, to learn more about best practices in the field of instruction? And I feel like that I'm not doing my job if they aren't growing professionally. And so it's critical to my job that I make and help and nurture and coach teachers in professional growth. There are plans in the making, plans that carry over into year 2 and 3 if it's something that we are initiating. because it cannot be one and done. It has to be ongoing, and it has to be relevant to our teachers, and ultimately the way they feel about their skills and practices as an instructor are going to affect our students in a very positive way that will result in academic achievement so that they are college and career ready.
We always start, I think, anytime we do something new, I think we start with the question why, and if we can't answer it or it doesn't fit within our framework, then we really need to move on and focus on something that is going to fit and go back to our purpose. We identify that we just need to be more purposeful in the way that we do things. And so we talked about our themes or our initiatives in the district, and we had too many. We started trying to break down, well, we're trying to move in so many different directions, we're not focused. And that's where we started reading the book Focus. One of the main components of our district approach is to build leadership capacity in our staff. And I think we're starting to see results of that. Whether it's through cooperative learning, technology, a lot of different areas that we have the potential for that. So a lot of elements to it, but we're excited about it.
This video and the other videos in this series will be accompanied with a guide that has protocols and suggestions for how to use this video with your team or your staff. We hope you explore possibilities and create actions that will lead to excellent teaching and learning every day, beginning tomorrow. It is our hope that you will find these videos useful and provide you with ideas that you can adapt to your situation. Remember, one size doesn't fit all. We hope you are inspired to learn more. Learning Forward Kansas continually finds ways to support Kansas educators. Our mission is to build the capacity of educators to establish and sustain highly effective professional learning. We know that when educators engage in excellent professional learning that strengthens our professional practices, our students win. Happy learning and leading. Please contact us if you have questions or want additional support.